Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you. Do, 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 do. So this should be the second video that you watch, because this video is about, is a personal story. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story about when my uncle died. So my uncle, very, very close to him, he was gay, and he truly thought I hung the moon. Like, truly thought I hung the moon. Like, he loved me. I am an INFJ, and he was too. So we were kindred spirits. He's a loner. I'm kind of that too. And so we were like cut from the same cloth. Like, we got each other. And he's like one of the most gentle, why am I gonna start crying? One of the most gentle people I have ever met. And he loved me, and very much. And I think I might have been his favorite. I don't know. But no, actually, he's really close to my sister too. But anyway, I digress, as per usual. So guess what? I was a grief counselor when my uncle died. Oh, and to make the point that he was, he raised me. So my dad left when I was 8 years old. And, I mean, he didn't live with us, maybe a few times, but he just, he paid for my dance costumes. He paid for my college books. Like, he just has always been there for me to, as a support to me. Okay. So, like, really important. He's my father figure for real. So anyway, it happened while I was a grief counselor. I'm like, oh my God, am I going to be able to be a grief counselor while I'm grieving? Like, can I work? Like, what's going to happen? What is this even going to fucking look like? And part of me thought, well, I'm a grief counselor, so maybe it's not going to be as bad for me, bitch. It was bad. So here's what I found out about, and partially, I went to become a grief counselor to help myself experience grief when it happened, and I was hoping to get out of, have some get out of jail free cards. Like, I wouldn't have to do all that fucking grief and all that. But again, how am I going to work? How am I going to work? Like, when my clients start talking about the person that they love has died, the person that meant more than them to anything, so much so that they made an appointment with me to talk about it. Like, how can I do that and not be, have malpractice? You know what I'm saying? And so, again, so two things. One, I thought I would get out of grief, and two, I have a problem. I need to work. And so, here's what I found out. I have talked to you, I'm going to talk to you about functioning. Very briefly in this first month of grief, but just functioning. And so my functioning went to hell in the handbasket. I'm a freeze mode person, and so when a bad thing happens in my life, something I have to cope with, I kind of like freeze. I don't move. I lay on the sofa. I'm just watching television constantly all day. Because I'm frozen. That's how I'm going to incorporate any kind of high stress level thing that is just going to happen to me, and that's just a fact, and that's just the way it is. So I have to figure out how to work around it. So, I told you, or I will tell you, depending on which video you've watched first, is that grief counseling can be helpful, because what I do, I don't do anything with their grief. I support them in their grief, but I help them solve the other problems in their life and educate them. And so anyway, so I decided to go to work. I was like, I took maybe like a week or so off, and I went to work, and here's what I found out. I had to change my life in such a way where I wanted to do everything in my, ability to be there, full Elizabeth, full grief counselor, full therapist, like full, like But that means I'm probably not going to be able to do anything else. Thank goodness my kids were a little older at this time. Actually, they're both grown. But so I didn't have to, when we're parents, we don't get to check out of life, you know what I mean? But so what I did was I went ahead, put my grief, you'll see this in the future, I'll explain what it is later, but put my grief crown on and I say, I'm gonna just rest, and then when it's time to go to work, I'm gonna go to work. So here's what I found out. One is I can work and so can you, but the price of that is we actually have to do major ass self-care and do whatever it takes that we need to take care of ourselves so we can show up fully to work and still do a, if not exemplary, like good enough, And if you follow me on other things, I have an imperfection practice, so great. I get to practice that at work because I'm fucking grieving. Okay, so I did not, there's no get out of jail free card. There's no, I did not. It's like, oh, Elizabeth, bless her little heart. She thought she could intellectualize all her grief and she'd be fine, but I wasn't. So, but I will tell you what it did give me. It gave me the grief crown. It gave me, because of my knowledge of the research and understanding about how grief works, I did not feel bad about anything I had to do to take care of myself. Like there may have been a good 2 weeks where I could not really function outside of work. I could show up, I'd be an amazing therapist. My clients didn't know this was happening in my life, so I would be able to show up as me, as awesome as I always am. But the price to do that meant that I kind of had to let a lot of things go and just let myself do what was coming up for me. And for me, it's going to show up as freezing. For other people, it might show up as flight or flee. So you'll get real busy. And that's helpful to you. And so, but freezing and just acknowledging that I'm a freeze mode person and this is just the way it has to look, I didn't feel one bit of guilt. And that's when I invented the grief crown. My grief crown is it's like, oh, I'm gonna wear this and watch TV. Like, I'm just gonna, again, I was wearing it metaphorically, but I'm not gonna apologize. And I knew everything. So I got out of feeling a bit of shame. And that's one of the things that people who grieving feel is there's shame. There's shame that they need to take time off. There's shame that they can't do all the things that they normally do. They're ashamed that they can't, perform outside of work the way they want to or need to or whatever. And it's like, when I'm your bitch, like, no, awesome. You're staying busy? Good. You have to be around people because you need that? Great. You need to be alone for a really long time? Amazing. Like, you're doing amazing. But we don't. So this is what the gift is that I'm going to give you the knowledge that you need to understand what the fuck is going on with you. Because grief is just so fucking crazy. It's like a carnival ride, or it's going to a carnival. Like, 1 minute you're on the cheap ass roller coaster, or the next minute you're on that roundup thing where you're against the wall, and the next time you're just in a fucking fun house and you don't even know what's happening, and then, or you got people yelling at you like the Barker or whatever. Like, come on. Like, it's insane. It's just a weird ass journey. It's like Alice in Wonderland through the looking glass. Like, it's just a weird fucking thing that will happen to us. And everything for the next 2 years that doesn't go your way, or like, that's grief. That is grief. And I guarantee you, if we talked, that you're like, this isn't grief, I'm just being lazy. It's like, I would help you trace it back to how this is about grief. No. So I hope you are able to accept the gift of the knowledge, because the knowledge, it's not going to help us not grieve, and to intellectualize it is not going to be helpful, but just understanding that we're going through something, and no one has taught us this. No one has taught us, growing up, like, this is what the grief looks like. No one, we don't really, talk that, we don't see it really, except maybe in on the television or movies. But so yeah, I hope that you take care of yourself in the way of however you need to, however it shows up for you, whatever your history. But you can fucking know that everything you're going through is like normal, and we're just gonna see what it does. But we don't, those of us who understand the psychological arts of grief, know that we're going to be weird. We're going to do things that we're not normally doing, and we can know that, like, oh, I guess that's what the grief is doing today, So I hope you can receive this gift. It is an awesome gift, because the knowledge will set you free. The truth will set you free. First it'll piss you off, but then it will set you free. And by pissing you off, I just mean all the shitty emotions that you're going to go through, and like insomnia or hypersomnia, or no appetite or voracious appetite. Like it's all gonna you're gonna see what you're gonna go through. But it's, again, if you have a symptom and you think something's wrong, or somebody has told you like something's wrong with you, I want you to go to a therapist. I want you to go to the doctor. I want you to go to the hospital, whatever the fuck you need. But my hunch is that if you're watching this and you are interested in what I talk about, then you will probably experience something. You'll be able to label it grief, but it's just something that I have never mentioned to you. Then I want you to, again, Google it, and you're like, yep, it shows up right there. And also it changes. It's baffling. So it's like you may have a period of time, like this first month, maybe you can't eat. But then the following months, it's like you can't stop eating. It's just, like I said, it's a fucking fun house of, not fun house, but yeah, it's a carnival. And whatever the grief, it's the grief carnival. I'm weird. Immediately fire me. Get your money back. But this is so real to me. And for me, it's all like, what's the root of the root of the root of the root? It's fucking love. And I'm not going to be ashamed of that. I'm not. Because I'm very proud that I had the relationships that I have. Like, I'm very proud of them, and I relish them. And I get to treasure those memories and things that I learned from them forever. And so I'm never going to apologize, because my people that died are worth this. My pets that have died are worth this. They're worth it. Don't get jealous, Emily. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. But that's what we're doing here. Okay. Love you. Bye.